All right, let me get it set up. That's there. This goes there. Let me check it over here. And here we go.
Are we on, are we?
Yeah, we're on. Let me see. It should show up now. Yeah, it's there. I see it. 24 people in the house. Hello,
Hello,
everybody.
Housey. I
Let's
got the
see.
giggles tonight. Oh
Me too.
dear.
It's filling up. We'll roll it out in a second. Hello,
I
Laura.
can't see you. I can't. Well, I can see you there, but I can't see you here.
Oh, on the phone. Just refresh it. Go.
Yeah.
Just refresh it. It'll be there.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. So hello, Laura Castaneda, Geraldine, Amy Brown, Pamela Johnson's in the house. She's been putting out some
Hello,
really.
everyone.
Yeah, Deb Beanie,
Oh, yes, she has.
I know, Darla Diaz. I'd like to get Pamela Johnson on here. I think Morgan asked her, but she did. She's a
She's amazing.
Yeah,
Her
she is.
information is just bang on all the
It
time.
really is. It really is.
And she's a beautiful lady as well. She
Yes, she
really is.
is. Darla Diaz, Ragnar Foss, Shirley Levendahl, Susan Otteson, who else? Nicole Harris,
Hello,
Christina.
Nicole.
Yeah, Christina Adolphson,
Yeah.
Elizabeth Hawkins, England, Naveen Kazar from Netherlands, Marcy Durost,
Oh,
Martine.
hi, Marcy.
Yeah, she's sweet. Martine,
She is.
Nikita Larsh, Sabine Dandridge, Melanie Force, Vixen Davis, Thea Magdalena, Karen Isis. She's a very nice
Oh,
lady.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Jemunu, Donna Capro de Casa.
Yes,
Fred,
hi, Donna. Hello.
Frederica Anderson. I've been friends with her since I came off the street 5 years ago. Hello, Frederica. Jane Dixon House,
Yeah.
Irina Isikoff, Don McCaffrey, Hannah Joy, Liz Mason. I can't keep up.
Wow.
They're coming in so fast. I can't keep up. Uh, 81 people in the house. 82. Wow, what a special day today is. A special day. Very,
It
very
is.
special. Oh, the energy. I feel like I've drank like 10 cups of coffee. I don't know what's going on. So
Mm.
let me formally roll this show out. It's a very special day. Today is September 1st, and both Amanda and I, both independent of each other, have always felt that this month is the month of completion. And so it's a special broadcast. This is our 560th broadcast, which is an 11. And I got to say that, we started doing these shows a little bit before the summer of 2017. And I didn't know Amanda personally. I followed her and I reached out to her, and about 2 or 3 months went by. And then she said, okay, I'll go on with you now. But I got to tell you that we are connected. We're kindred brothers and sisters, Blu-ray, and very connected, very much so. And when Amanda came on, this this show, Soul Speaks 5D, began to really take off. And we broadcasted several times between, I think, November of 2017 and probably about February of 2018, and then she took a little break. But she really helped us get some exposure, and I'm deeply thankful for that. So it's good.
Oh, Todd.
It's
You
good to
don't have
be
to say that.
well, but it's true,
Yeah.
and I just want to say on behalf of everybody. I said it today on the radio show. I told people that you were coming on, and I said the reason that she's so effective is because she speaks from her heart.
Mm.
So many people to get whatever you want to call it, transmissions or downloads or whatever. Um, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody, because this is a tough integration for all of us.
Yeah.
But we can really simplify everything when it gets right down to it, because if we just run everything through our heart, it's what it to me carries the biggest activations, regardless of what we get from the other dimensions and such. But it's just the activation of the human raw, real, genuine, innocent, childlike, quality that we have, and that's where our power is. So, and I've seen that happen for 560 shows. So it's a pleasure to connect with you again.
Well, thank you. It's an absolute honor to be on your shows, Todd. I mean that, and
Yeah.
it always feels an honor to connect with you. And it is all about the heart. The hardest thing for the human on the Ascension is to come out of their mind.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, and it's just part of the programming that we agreed to live by or experience by. And it's consistently about being aware every day, whether you're coming from your mind or your heart, because the mind will just kick in. It'll
Yeah.
just kick in unawares. Um, and I do want to say right at the start, I've said this before, but I'm on the path too, so I'm by no means perfect. I'm going through it just as everybody else is. So I have my lessons, and it's by it's so easy for me to look at myself because I've looked at myself all my life. So I don't mind going there. I don't mind going deep. But the beauty of the ascension when we awake is that because we have a different awareness, we can literally see at a different level to when we were asleep. And that means that you can get to the crux of anything that occurs or you experience in life. And then you can see that every single thing that happens to us all is actually a gift.
Yeah.
A gift to excel and to empower. And when you see that by going deep within, you're not afraid to look at yourself again and again every single day. So with me, if I go into lower thoughts, and when I say higher and lower, they're just labels. I don't mean any judgment by them. It's just description. But
Yeah.
if I will observe myself all day long. And if I do catch myself dipping into a lower frequency thought, you can bet I will look at it. I won't let it go.
Yeah.
I won't change the subject and roll over and then forget about that and then go on to the next day and the next and forget about it. No,
Yeah.
I'll look at it. And that's the key to clearing ourselves. It's all about us. It's not about the outside. It's not about the people on the outside.
Right.
It's about how we react to the outside, because it's all of that out there that we're creating. Our
Yeah.
higher self is creating it. And people know this, but it's worth repeating it for people that are just awakened. And people are awakening all the time. And I think my conversation's going to be all over the place tonight because it's just going to go into everything, I think. What do I need to put more lights on here? Oh, oh, you've gone, Todd.
I'll be back.
I can't see you. Oh, there you
So
are.
no. So, but if it
Are you
happens to,
frozen? Yeah, you're there.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm there. Yeah. So what I was going to say is that, oh, that's weird. Hang on. Wait. Is that, is it back?
I'm with
No, no,
you.
now my phone's doing it. My
Oh,
screen went black. Oh my. Todd
yeah.
disappeared. Well, that's
You're
okay.
definitely there now. I can see you.
Yeah. Let me try it again. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So no, I think what you're saying is really important because it's almost like it's getting it's simplifying, right? So let me give you an example. So and I love what you said because I actually have been doing that today. I've been feeling something and it's an external thing and I kept saying to myself, well, that's not me. That's not me. And then I thought, well, what can you do to equalize that connection or whatever you want to call it. And so I started to examine it, and I thought, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And if I do this and that, then there should be some type of reciprocation from the external force that's creating this discomfort. So there are things we can do, but what I love about what you're saying is it's starting to get more simplified. And then the other thing you said is about the these lower, we would call lower vibrations. We know that that's not an accurate term, but so yesterday, as a lot of people know, am I still there? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, it's Be Live. But anyway, yesterday I did a video, right? I hit the wall, and and I knew that I had to speak in that moment. I couldn't wait. I couldn't plan anything. I knew that it was important. That's what I do. That's what
Mm,
I've been doing for 7 years. So
mm.
I did it.
Oh, you're frozen, Todd. You're frozen, Todd. Um, I'm
Yeah.
gonna. Oh, are you there,
Okay.
Todd?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still frozen. Okay.
Are you there, Todd?
Yeah, yeah. Hang on. Let's see here.
Okay.
Where is the problem? Keep talking.
Yeah. You're frozen, but I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
I'm going to fix it in a second, I think. So, what I was getting at anyway was that a lot of people thought, and I hit the wall. I hit the wall, and, but I knew that I needed to express because I knew that I was transmitting purity, you know,
Absolutely.
and it was a very human thing. And I never watched my videos, and I went back and watched it last night, and it's not the words. It's not the words that we're speaking. It's the expression of the heart. It's the
Yes.
frequency of the heart, and the response, which is not for the ego. It's not for the human. I'm just saying this as what I see that's working and what's so effective with you is because you speak from the heart. You're doing from the heart. You're acting from the heart. Thinking from the heart. So I just think it's important that we speak up now, and because it does activate our brothers and sisters. You go ahead and take it. I'm going to go out and come back in. You go ahead.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. It's weird talking to a grey thing. What Todd's saying is,
I'm back.
I didn't see the live, but I saw the replay, and from a bigger picture perspective, I saw the absolute beauty in Todd's live yesterday. The beauty was that he was coming from his core truth, his core heart. There were no masks on Todd, and everything he said had a higher meaning to it. Todd's heart is always for the collective, it's not about himself. And all I saw when I saw that live was the beauty of your being in having, excuse the language, but
Hmm.
having, because I don't really swear too much, but having the balls to be your truth live. There's so many men and women that would not have the courage to do that. And for you to be willing to express yourself from your heart and from your truth was a beauty for everybody to behold. And I know afterwards today, because as you know, you were in my heart from that moment that I saw it. And today I actually understood that what had happened is you'd gone into a vortex. So I knew you had jumped. You've actually shifted up. And the reason that you've shifted up is one reason. Well, two reasons, but it's the same. And that is that you came from your absolute pure truth, which was your heart. So a person can come from their ego and they won't shift up. They'll just repeat experiences after experiences after experiences until they
she
drop
froze
their
up
ego
now,
down.
I think.
Until they now.
It's okay. It's the
Can you
energy.
hear
We're going
me?
to be okay.
Can
Let's
you hear
see
me
here. I
now?
don't know if she knows she's frozen.
No, I don't know. I'm frozen.
Let me see. Let me check and see.
Tell me, am I frozen?
Okay. Let's see.
I don't know.
So we're going to keep working through this. I'm going to tell her to go out and come back in, I think. Let's see. It looks like she's, oh no, she left. Okay. Okay, we're good. She knows. Okay, she knows. So, and this isn't to talk about me. What we're trying to do is we're trying to talk about what we're all going through. And we're back. We're going to make it. It's the energy.
Okay. I was so boring they cut me off.
No. I followed you through the whole time, and
Okay.
okay. So, and I was just explaining that we're not. This isn't about talking about me. That we're trying to.
No, it's not. It's about everyone.
Yeah, we're conveying what, and that's why I did that yesterday, because people, even people that know me on a personal level, that knew some things were happening in my life, misunderstood.
Here's the thing, though, Todd. Just to clarify, is that when say something happens to you, to me, to anybody watching this, because things happen to us all. It's how we process it. So we could react a certain way, a typical human way, but then that might occur. But then afterwards, it's how do we process that? And there's two ways we're going to process it. It's either through our heart, being honest to ourselves and speaking our truth. If we do that, we raise our frequency up.
Yeah.
If we come away from that situation and process it through ego, which might be, and I'm just giving examples here because I don't know any situations, but it might be to blame that other person or to put a story to that other person as to why they did or said that, which then has upset me. That is putting the blame on the outside. It's not looking at why you yourself are hurt, why you are upset. So you have to have a lot of compassion for yourself to be able to look yourself in the face from your heart with love to yourself. But if you react to that situation afterwards from ego and just blame outside circumstances or outside people for what's occurred, whatever that was is going to show up again and again and again in a different person, a different time, until you do go within and look at ourself. I look at me, and why did I react that way? And it's by that act. Are you still there, Todd? Are you still there, Todd? Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. But it's that act, the act that we individually perform of looking within ourselves and saying, this isn't about them. It's actually about me and my thoughts and my beliefs or my misperceptions about me. It's always about us. It's always about me, you. So because we do that, we then clear it. But then what will happen is we will get another little gift of a similar nature again. So we've understood the core problem or the core misperception of how we act based on our misbeliefs about ourselves. It will then present again in a smaller way, and that is an opportunity to now act from the highest truth that you have understood about yourself, if that makes sense. And so it's not only that we clear something within us, but it's then we go and walk our talk and we act from that new enlightened mind, if you like, and then it does not repeat it. So what we're doing is we're spiraling up that way
Hmm.
instead of cycling round in which are actually condensed spirals. We're
Yeah.
going like this instead
Yeah.
because we're happy to look at ourselves. You know, it's the greatest thing anyone can do is look at themselves.
Yeah.
The hardest thing, or at least the hardest path on this ascension, is to not look at yourself. That's the hardest route, to
Yeah.
avoid looking at yourself. And I include myself in all of this. Everything I say from complete experience of it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And you know,
Whoa, you've frozen again, Todd. Frozen. Are you there? Wow, its time is 2222.
we're okay. We'll be all right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Is it your end or is it my end? I
It's,
think
you
I'm
know what?
okay.
This is what I wanted to talk about. It's energy. It's energy. And that's what I noticed. You know, today's September 1st in the US. And so it would have been like the 29th, 30th, 31st. I started to see, you know, in a greater way, all this energy happening. I saw this energy coming, and I saw it in people,
Yes.
and I saw it with what I was seeing.
Mm,
And so what happened to me when I hit the wall was a combination of several things, but I saw it all as energy, and I approached it all as energy. One of the things that happened was I went into the bathroom and I put my hair tied down and my bracelet. I turned around and wiped my face, and I turned around and looked back to get my bracelet and my hair tie, and they were gone. This happened about 3 or 4 times during the day, which would have been the 30th and the 31st. And I thought, wow, you know, what's happening? These glitches and you know, what is this?
yeah.
So it reminded me a lot of the blood moon eclipse, where everybody was like, there was all this energy and combustion, and all of a sudden we went into the blood moon, and then it shot out an escalation, an elevation, and that's what happened. You know, a lot of people wrote me notes. Are you okay? I want to help, and I thought, you know,
Mm,
I'm okay. I'm fine. I was okay when I did it. I
mm,
slept and I went into dimension all day long afterwards. But when I woke up this morning, I'm like, okay, let's roll. You know, so that's, I think, important that we got to remember. And like you said, have compassion for ourselves, because whenever we go through this stuff, that elixir is the expression from the heart. And then the beauty of it is we get this huge elevation. And,
yeah.
and you know, that's what it's all
Also,
about.
also, Todd, it's actually really. I'm glad you've mentioned this because the way I feel September is, and I only got this today when I was out, and I've done a lot of work today, as in energetic work. And so this info I literally got today is that for some people, September, and you've just gone through this, but you'll go through it again, and many will. September, from the humanness of us, the human part of us, it will be the whole month of completely and utterly being and standing in our truth.
Yeah.
So you've just done that. You know, you've just, in a sense, started September off, but it's going to be like this for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what this is it's different. It's completely different to the months that we've just had.
Yeah.
Where we are in our energetic journey, we're at a certain frequency. And what has happened and can happen is that we interact with people. This is just being human, by the way, you know, typical human. And I don't say that in a derogatory term, just in case. But when we interact with people, based on what they are talking about, or they want to talk about, or their storyline, or their emotions, we can actually dip in frequency.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
we
right.
can just dip, or, and this is being perfectly honest and truthful because it happened to me yesterday, we can add to the subject and the storyline that they're talking about.
Yep.
Now, their subjects that they might wish to talk about, or their storyline, might have absolutely nothing to do with us. It's theirs.
Yeah.
But what we tend to do as human beings, this is typical conversations. Before, if you go back to when we were unawakened, it's a typical yak, 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 yak conversation where one person says this, another person says that. And this is what happens. Now, if we're interacting with people, and this is going to be September's experiences for a lot of people, when we're interacting with people, they may say things that don't resonate to our path. They may wish to talk about subjects that have got absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with our path and our storyline. September will be about learning and mastering human ways from the heart, not from ego, but from the heart, to basically say, no, this isn't something that I resonate with my path, so I can't actually add to the conversation about this subject. Because what we tend to do is just talk. We go on autopilot. Humans are on autopilot basically until they awaken. Their mind is just yak, yak, yak. And so we can and we have been susceptible to lowering our frequency through interaction with human beings.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen to some in September is they will master that activity of but this is from heart, it's not from ego.
Yeah.
They will master it in ways that they're presented with so that they don't engage in conversations that have actually got nothing to do with their reality.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their storyline. Everyone has a different storyline.
Yeah.
And we honor everybody's storylines, but it doesn't mean we have to engage in all the dramas, all the truths, all the ideas, all the subject matters that others wish to talk about and engage with.
So let me ask you.
In other words, we're being true to ourselves. September is all about being true to ourselves.
Yeah. And let me ask you a question, and let me add to that. So, and because again, I'm just trying to put the frequency out there that I'm feeling and experiencing.
Yeah.
So because I know it's somehow carries activations, and so we all do. And so I woke up this morning, and I'm like, okay, I got this new computer. I feel great. I actually woke up very, very physically. Like I was active in Dimension last night for the last 2 nights. I knew I was because I get really sore and I'm groggy. But once I got out of it, I was like, okay, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do a radio show. I did a video first, said, hey, I'm okay, guys. I'm going to do a radio show. And then I started thinking, okay, staying with my truth. I thought I'm going to go into New York City and I'm going to dig something up. I'm going to make something happen. That's what we do. So I'm getting that. But my question to you was that, and that's in the spirit of staying true to yourself, which is what you're talking about. And I'm going to ask you about right now, and in our actions of creation. But so if something comes, what I'm finding is that if something comes at me, or let's just say someone, because the someone would require talking normally, like you said, autopilot. If it's something, the talking's up in here, so it still applies. But what I'm finding is to say nothing, and not in judgment, just to say, can't do it. And for over the last 2, 3, 4 months, I've had people unfriend me. I've had people say things to me, and I've just held my ground most of the time. And what I'm finding is that they're coming back. Not that I was right, but that we're finding congruency, and that it's being understood at a level without words. Because the more we talk, like you said, the autopilot, the more we even if it's not something dramatic, we start having these low level, I'd say low level, but the human 3D paradigm conversations, we are actually dipping down. We really are.
Yes. Yeah, this is such a beautiful subject to talk about. You've said many things there, Todd, which I can add to is let's try and be clear about what is operational. And again, we're just talking labels about third.
Yeah.
We're just saying third dimension. It's a particular frequency. That's it. It's not actually called third. That's a human word. But we're just kind of trying to categorize and trying to talk to explain. Are you still there, Todd? You're frozen. Are you there? I don't know if
No,
I'm
just keep
still
going. If
live.
that happens,
Are
yeah,
you
you're
there,
live.
Todd?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
just if that happens, just keep going. I'll pop in, pop out.
Oh, okay. All right, I will. So what we talking
Well, you were talking. Well, you
about? Okay.
you were talking
Yeah,
about the
that's totally gone.
third dimensional being a
Yeah.
specific
So let's
vibration.
yeah, let's try and get some understanding around this. Is and if people agree with it, they do. If they don't, they don't have to. It doesn't make any difference to me, but I'm just explaining the way I understand it and resonate to. Third dimension has a system of communication that humans use in order to live by and to communicate with the world and each other. That is a third dimensional frequency of linear languages like English, Greek, French, Japanese, writing, and reading. In order to perform those three acts of communication, you have to use the linear brain.
Yeah.
So, in order to talk, you're going into your, for want of a better word, third dimensional program in order to talk, third dimensional program in order to read, third dimensional program in order to write.
Yeah.
The key is we're leaving that.
Yeah.
So, it is a case of if we're reading all day long, that might assist the brain to a degree in understanding. It might also tap the ego on the head because the ego wants identity. It wants to identify itself. So it's, oh, wow, I've read this. That's me. That's me. I'm a Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Sirius. I'm this. I'm that. I'm an incarnation of whoever. That strokes the ego in the linear brain. The ego is linear 3D. It doesn't exist at 5D, the ego. So we have to be aware of our acts. If I was talking to people, and this has happened seriously, all day long, all I'm doing is staying in third dimensional frequency. So that doesn't serve my path if I'm wanting to raise my frequency and work with energy. Now, it's not always going to be this way, but at this stage in the ascension, that's how it is. When we get together with another person of a similar frequency, we can work together with
Yeah.
our higher energies. And this is happening already.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this, I know this. It's already happening where the frequencies are so similar and the desire to experience higher experiences in the physical body is there, that the two gel and they can work together as energy and
Yeah.
have experiences together as
Yeah.
energy. So that's already happening, but
Yeah.
we have to be aware, and I've forgotten where we were with this conversation, but we have to be aware of that talking is actually third dimensional frequency. We would serve ourselves more if we spoke light language to each other,
Yeah.
or we would serve ourselves more on the ascending path if we just looked into each other's eyes and
Yeah.
didn't speak. It's where we're headed. We're coming out of where we were, and there's no judgment
Yeah.
at all, because the brain serves us in inquiring about the path when we wake up.
Yeah.
But we have to master our thoughts, master our conversation,
Yeah.
and master our actions. And that's kind of what the Ascension path is. It's about mastering the mind so that you then become the observer of the mind.
Yeah. And there's two things you brought up. One is, as an example, and this, you're right, this is happening all the time. It happens to different degrees. We got on the phone a couple of days ago on the camera. We hadn't talked to each other in a while. And that's what happened. We just were like this. And we were both started to giggle and laugh. And I was getting electric jolts. And you thought you were going to levitate. And we didn't even say a whole lot. We didn't even say a lot. And what happened to me, and I wrote a piece on it, what happened to me was, so we talked and we visited. And then I went upstairs and I was messing around. And all of a sudden I felt like I was going to go into dimension. So I lay down. And I put the post out for two reasons. One, I put it out because I knew that I was supposed to express this, and what it was what you're talking about. That there needs to be, and there will be, more expressions and descriptions of people actually seeing that in each other. Okay,
Yes.
and then the second thing that came out of it, because it is the language where we came from, and then the second thing was that it actually talking with you, and this has happened with other people before. Actually, something was activated or something in me, and I went and laid down, and then I had a dimensional experience. So one led to the other, and this is how we operate. This is how we operate in dream state and such. And the other thing that you said too, which I loved, is you said, we get this, and we're Syrian, or we're Arcturian, or we identify with this, we identify with that. This, to me, is another thing that's been coming in, which is that's no different to a degree. It has relevance to a point,
Yeah.
because it's no different than our past. It's a story, okay? It's a story. And I see a lot of people that are starting to take in this information and they're saying, hey, I know this and I know that and I know this and I know that. And that's understandable. I totally get that. But that's just what got us here. The human is the hero.
Yeah.
We're conscious here. And these are the things, be they past experiences of what we call trauma, pain, and suffering or whatever, or their channelings or downloads or identification of our higher aspects and our star family lineage. This is all great information, but it's all supposed to bring us right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My understanding, Todd, because we've all got different paths, and there's no hierarchy in any single path of any single human being on this planet.
Yeah.
And I am completely passionate about that.
Yeah.
That every single path and every person is equal.
Yeah.
And I will always stand by that. In terms of this is such a huge subject, but my path, I fluctuate from being extremely human, super sensitive Mandy, very human, very trod on. I fluctuate from human and bigger picture.
Yeah.
Now, in between that is galactic and angelic.
Yeah.
Right? So right at the beginning of my awakening, I was shown the fields of energy, and my path was to know how they worked. And I didn't learn it via the internet or books. I was shown it piece at a time. It's like, okay, now you need to know this. Now you need to, and I'm very visual, so I get a lot of visuals. I've actually posted about this today, and I'm going to do a video in the future about the labyrinth.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, well, this is very related to what you're saying now. So let's take examples of people that might relate to aspects of themselves that might be galactic. So somebody might, I mean, I actually do have influence and do get experiences that are just bam presented to me by the Lyrians.
Yeah.
So I am certainly being assisted by Lyran energy and other aspects.
Yeah.
But do I let that take over the path of ascending this human body? No.
Mm-mm.
Because the within that labyrinth, so creation created the labyrinth, and we are in that labyrinth as human
Yeah.
beings. But so are all galactics.
Yeah.
So are all angelics. So are all, you could label it, dark energies of the lower fourth. Every single dimension, as we label them dimensions, is within the labyrinth.
Yeah.
Everything is a light program within a light program within a light program. So when a person identifies, they might say, I am Archangel Michael, I am Sarah, I am Jesus, I am whoever, I am, a galactic commander, Ashtar, say.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, they're absolutely correct. They're coming from their truth. But what they're doing is they're piercing the veil, which is a membrane in the brain. They're piercing and seeing, if you imagine a hole in a membrane,
Yeah.
and their consciousness, as they are, as human, is piercing through that hole and seeing that aspect of them as Mary Magdalene or
Yeah.
as Ashtar or Archangel Michael. The
Yeah.
point of that is it's a piercing through the veil, it's a piercing through the membranes within the brain.
Yeah.
It's not dissolving the veil, it's not dissolving the membrane. And Ascension is about dissolving the whole membrane.
Yeah.
Because when we dissolve the whole membrane, not only do we see that we are Ashtar, Mary Magdalene, Assyrian, blue skinned being, we see we are everything.
Yeah.
And that every single person is also everything.
Yeah.
So when a person, it might be that a person's life plan or light program that they come in with, it might be that they have decided to concentrate on one aspect during this lifetime. Do you see? Every single person has a different plan for this
Yeah.
lifetime. And it may well be that one person decides before birth to concentrate on the fairy kingdom this lifetime, or crystals, or dragons, or this, that, and the other this lifetime. But and there's no more than or less than or more important or less important. This is aspects that they and their soul has agreed to concentrate on prior to incarnation in order to evolve their soul further. Oh God, you've gone grey,
I'm
and
here.
here we
Don't
go.
worry.
So here we go.
Let's keep going.
So the point is, there's no right or wrong. Ultimately speaking, there's no right or wrong ascension. What there are billions of facets given, billions of light programs that, from our human perspective, we put into stories, we put into storyline.
Yeah.
Ultimately speaking, there's one whole storyline.
Yeah.
Um,
To me, they're like memories. I know when I woke up, it was Jesus and Magdalene telling me a story about who I was. I never
mm,
took it literally. I took it, from what I could understand at the time,
yeah,
cosmically.
yeah,
I thought, well, this is something that it's not literal. It's not like, I was actually their offspring, not in the human literal sense. and then later on, it's a memory from Avalon,
Yeah.
and or this incarnate, or 7 or 8 different ones that I had right off the bat. And to
Mm.
me, they're memories, no different than our past memories that we can remember from our human consciousness. And again, these are all tools and clues. And like
Yeah.
you said, I love what you said about, I've never heard that before, about piercing the
What's that?
membrane. So
Yeah.
it's like you pierce the membrane and you see this light coming in, and you're just like looking at it, going, "Okay, that's it." Well, that's not it. You're
Yeah. There's a
actually,
whole bigger picture to it.
yeah.
So I go from being very human and, completely lacking in confidence, completely run over by everybody. That's my whole life. To this is the craziness from that, which is the less, the least worthy person, to actually seeing the whole picture. So I don't focus on galactic whatsoever. I know there's aspects there because they've been shown to me. And Lyran energy, the overriding energy of Lyra, just literally says, right, okay, here you are. You need to know this now.
Hmm.
I don't intentionally connect to anything. I do not even try to connect
Yeah.
to any energies, but that's
Okay.
my path
Yeah.
because I'm not going to go down distractions. Because for
Yeah.
my path to concentrate on one particular aspect of myself, which might be Syrian or Lyran, to concentrate on, or the dragon energies, to concentrate on that isn't my path.
Right.
My path is to see the overall picture, which is why I was shown the labyrinth. But for another soul, their path could easily be to concentrate and get the detail and have the experiential detail of this aspect and then this aspect. So there's no right or wrong with
Yeah.
any of this. That's the beauty of it,
Yeah.
is there's absolutely no right or wrong to anyone's path. They're doing exactly as per they should be doing and they've agreed to do before they came in. And that's where I find some human sadness in me, because people can judge other people. There can be this underlying current within the spiritual community
Yeah.
of judging and envy and jealousy and all this stuff, or no, they're not telling the truth and they're not telling, and all of this. And it's, when you look at the whole, it's actually all true.
Yeah.
It's all experience, and there's actually no better than or less than,
That's right.
because creator as one is not better than or less than itself. It
That's right.
just is. It
Yeah.
just is. And everybody just is. They're having their experience, and everybody should be honored. If they were honored, if everybody honored everybody, it's game over, isn't it?
Well, we don't want game over yet. I think, but and I love what you said too, because like if I go back to the conversation we had the other day, and then I got off and went upstairs and lay down, uh, it was a Lyrian experience. So maybe as we each have a role of the whole, as a component of the whole, we each have
Mm.
specialties or missions here.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so maybe what happened there was you opened up Illyrian, the piercing of
Yeah.
Illyrian in the membrane for me. And this goes on with everybody. If you've got someone, if you take someone
Yes.
like Lisa Transcendence Brown, the things that she opens for people, or
Yeah.
you open for people, or Morgan opens for people. I mean, this is kind of what it is. So it's less, it's just their role, our role, you
But
know?
that's, if everybody thought of that, it's every single person, whether they're awake or asleep, doesn't matter. Every single person holds a piece
Yeah,
to the whole picture, to the whole puzzle. Every single one of us. Whether a person can remember it, is consciously aware of it, doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's irrelevant. They hold it. They're here for a reason. And it's like you say, people on the awakening path, they're having their different experiences, which are a piece to the whole puzzle. And then there's the piece over there, and then the piece from that person.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean everybody has to be inundated with all this information,
Yeah.
but it all adds together to form the whole.
Yeah.
And it's intentionally all different experiences.
Yeah.
If Source wanted to have one experience, he would create. She would have created one other energy outside of itself.
Yeah.
But Source split and split and split and split into a myriad and millions and billions of pieces in order to have all of those different experiences of itself, to know
Yeah.
itself, to observe itself.
Yeah.
So every experience is honored.
Yes.
Right?
And that's another thing that I had a conversation with a lady in Ireland today who's been a big supporter, consistent supporter for a long time, very quiet in the background. And we had a conversation today, just aligned, and I knew that we were supposed to speak, so we spoke for a little bit. And she had was quoting a lady by the name of Noelle, and I can't remember her name, but she was talking about how each one of us, of course, is the center of our own universe, and that the minute we open our mouths, we're basically in the matrix. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And so
Yes.
I was reflecting on the
I
last.
love that lady.
I know. I was reflecting on the last 2 or 3 days and some things that had happened to me, and I started to look at this, and I said, okay, two people see the same thing, two people hear the same thing, okay, but if you ask the two people what they saw and heard, it's two different things. So I
Yes.
started to look at the things that were happening in my life. I thought, oh, you know what? That's their perception. Now,
Yes.
the trick is, and I'm the same way, the trick is to say that's their perception, have the compassion. It might not be the total word, but to say, but to say that without judgment, without the human 3D judgment of, oh, why did you say that? That part of it is, I think, a big factor that's starting to fall away. Felicia Noel, Burr
I love
Malloy's,
that. Uh,
Burr Malloy's the one that I talked to. But the thing is to me that's September. September is where that no longer holds water anymore. That vehicle of navigating this ascension is no longer going to work anymore when we try to substantiate or rationalize our position, because that does create separation. It creates an inferiority superiority. If I say something's wrong with you, whether I'm right or wrong isn't the point. The point is I'm separating us.
yeah.
You see, so
What what I've understood today, Todd, it has total bearing to what you've just said. The month of September is the start, and don't get me wrong, there may be some people who have already done this on the planet. Um, I don't know. I only know a few people, but September will be the month when people actually start to drop their own storyline, and they will drop the storylines of all others. So if we take this, excuse me, ascension, we were asleep and we thought the world was everything and it was this way. Then we get bolted awake. Then we go on our journey of searching and questioning reality. When we realize that it isn't what we thought it was, we then go searching for ourselves.
yeah.
As we search for ourselves, we start to find, which we just talked about, some identities. They're just some identities because we are all identities. We are everything. We're just seeing certain aspects of ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're constantly, and many are at that stage where they're still searching for their identity and what they should be doing on their path.
Yeah.
After that stage, September, this month, the people that are through that stage will drop their identity. They'll drop their storyline, and they will drop interest in all other storylines.
Yeah.
And that's September. We come out of the storylines. And there's a reason for this. Our consciousness, if we think of it as third dimensional consciousness, for want of labels, identifies with storylines.
Yeah.
All the way through, humans have to put a story around everything. You know, you go outside, you're going to make up a story about the rain. If you look at the sun, we can just look at the sun because we're awakened. We can just look at it without thought. But most people will add a story to the sun. Oh, isn't the sun pretty? Isn't it beautiful? Oh, it's going down. Story after story after story. All of this. But our consciousness, in order for our consciousness to raise and come out of the illusion, out of the dream, we have to let go of the dream. We have to let go of our stories that are in the dream, and we let go of all other people's stories in the dream. So when a person starts to tell you their story, it doesn't mean anything to you. And that is not a kind of statement that has no feeling to it. I say that with all my heart.
Yeah.
Because the love that you can hold unconditionally without attachment to storyline is limitless.
Yeah. That's right.
It's everything, that love.
Yeah.
So September, we'll notice people detaching from all their identifications, whatever they are, you know, in whatever realms, detaching from their own story and detaching from the stories of others.
Yeah.
That's September. It's a huge month. It's a huge month for a lot of people. It's huge, really is. But at the same time, and this has already started, you've experienced it, I've experienced it, is as we start dropping this identity attachment to third dimensional stories, as all of that's going on, as we start to stand completely in our truth in the most subtle ways, we're also experiencing the higher realms far more significantly, and the sensitivities that we have just go up. So there's kind of like two things going on. There's the human side to us, and then there's this energetic side which is completely influenced by the light body. And so we will start seeing more easily the higher frequencies and the higher sights, and hearing easier, understanding easier. So all these higher senses are coming on already. It's already started.
Yeah.
It'll be a huge month for some, a huge month.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. It's just like we let go of the attachment of our past traumas, pain, suffering, human stories, past life
but also
stories.
our attachment to the identities we've picked up on this path.
That's what I mean. So now it's going to the other side of it, because we've all been there. You know, we've all been there. I can remember, like, one night I got this one a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the Great White Brotherhood. and I said,
I'm only laughing at the way you expressed it, not that you are part of the Great White Brotherhood. Oh, you're funny.
Yeah.
And you've gone. Oh,
no,
there
I'm
you
back.
go.
No, but I understood what you said. I'm just saying it's the same thing as we did already, but this is at a different level. All this stuff that came in that we identified with served a purpose, but now it's got to a point where it's just as much a point of separation as those past things that took away from our self-love.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So when we're detaching, let's let's just tie this up completely to be really clear, is when we will go through September, it is the main month for a lot of people, a detachment from all their storylines, whether they're human, past, parallel,
Okay.
galactic,
Okay.
angelic. The reason they will detach from it, there's a higher reason for that, even more. There's an even higher level to why they're detaching. What they're doing is they're detaching from the Ascension program. They're detaching from the light program they came in with. And then they are the higher consciousness observing. So their consciousness will flick. And I don't know when the consciousness will flick, by the way. I don't know if it's September. But the final thing is to detach from the actual light program that we have been operating on. So our ascension, every single person's ascension, when they woke up, whatever year that was, they woke up then because it's within their own light, crystalline light program that they came in with. So there's key points on everybody's light program when this happens, when they meet this person, when they start to clear this. There's key stages in everybody's crystalline program. But when we jump, when we leap in consciousness, we will actually be letting go of that light program as well. So that's why we will detach. It's going to be a natural process as well. We don't have to think about or try hard for this. It just evolves anyway. It's just part of the process. So we're doing it anyway. I hope you're going to come back. So if I am still live, September will be a very exciting month, a very fast-paced month. Exciting because there'll be a lot to experience, a lot to see, hear.
Now she froze up.
Oh,
It's the energy, I'm telling you.
Am I here now?
Okay.
Am I here now?
There's a delay, so I got to figure out who's doing what.
Shall I come in again?
Okay, she's talking.
I am talking.
Let's see.
So that's why we will. It's going to be a natural process.
Okay.
We don't have to think
1 second.
try hard for this. It just evolves anyway.
She'll be back.
It's just part of the process. So we're doing it anyway.
Okay, I froze. I'm back.
I
see you both.
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Burr Malloy. Yes. Story. Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah.
Okay.
So if I am still live,
Okay.
September.
Here we go. Yeah, she froze up. Yeah. Okay, she's coming back. Okay, we're good. All right, here she goes. So, yeah, this is exciting. So maybe we'll stop seeing the labels of I'm a shaman, I'm this, I'm a, this, I'm that. And I'm not judging that or saying anything. I think if they've run their course, though, I think what she's doing, she's making a very valid point. She's making a very valid point about, that those things have served their purpose now. We're moving to a higher, what did you say? A higher consciousness, a higher perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna. Sorry, I've just come back in, Todd. But so I don't know what you were saying.
Well,
I caught the last bit.
No, I was just summing it up what you were talking about, and I was saying, well, maybe we'll start seeing people not saying, "Hey, I was so and so in a past life." And I'm not saying this in a condemning way or a judgmental way.
No.
I'm just saying that you're saying it's a natural process and it only makes sense that we would leave these things behind. It would only make sense because
we have to detach. Yeah, I mean, I think, if you look at any major faiths or religions or paths, it ends up with you letting go.
Oh my God.
So have I frozen again?
Here we go again.
I can see you. Oh dear. Are you there now? I can see you.
Like this.
See, I don't know if I'm live or Todd's live. It's a shame we don't know which one of us is cut out. I could be
We're
talking to
good. No, you're good.
myself.
No, you're not talking to
Which,
yourself. You're good.
oh, well, I'm always talking to myself, Todd.
Me too. I do it all the time. I put a post up the other day. I got like 150 engagements. People are like, "Oh, I talk to myself too."
Do you know what I'd like to say, just to get the message out, is that we don't, ascension isn't something we have to learn. It's a natural process. It's part of the 26,000 year cycle. People can believe that, they cannot believe it. It doesn't matter, because it's happening anyway to everyone. Everyone is in their perfect place. They are on their perfect path. And they're exactly where they need to be at this time. And it's only the linear mind, it's only the old program that might put little bits of doubt into our heads that say,
Mhm.
I'm not good enough, am I where I should be, blah, 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 blah. And then they stick the nose in the book and read, stay in linear mind as they're reading. And then, it's 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 happening anyway to everybody at their right time, for them, as they've signed up for, as they've agreed to.
Yeah.
um and that's really where we just honor everybody,
Yeah.
because ultimately they are us.
That's right.
That's when we there is a jump. Yeah, there is a jump. I mean, God, I've been shown this for my path. And then even when I was asleep, I actually had a really significant dream in my 20s that I never forgot. It's the experiences I had when I was 22 years of age, which I told you about before.
Yeah.
So there is a jump, yes. There's a jump in consciousness where we
Yeah.
stay in our physical bodies, and we do this whilst we are living in these physical bodies. And
Yeah.
there will be people that are walking around on the planet where I've experienced it for about 4 hours when I first awoke, where it's like your consciousness is above you, and you're not that you're looking down at your body, but it's like your consciousness is outside of your body. I'm
Yeah.
not saying your sight is outside of your body, but your consciousness is. And so you're kind of the observer of your body. You're not, at the moment, our consciousness feels as if it's in our body. It's here, it's all contained and compact, the consciousness. But when
Yeah.
we leap and jump, it's outside, it feels outside. So there will be people that do make that leap, whilst still in the physical body.
Yeah, and you see some evidence of that, because for a long time I thought when people had all these colors around them, that they were capturing spirits and light beings, and sometimes that may be true, an orb or that. But if you look at Roski Carr's work, and she's going to come on soon, Robin Redford, these are emanations from their own consciousness. This is their own field of
Beautiful.
energy, and
Beautiful. Yes.
that lends to what you're saying. And there's actually a lot more people doing it. They just happen to do a lot of expressions like that. But
Yes.
yeah, that makes total sense. I had
And
a
that's the beauty, is everybody's adding to all
yeah,
of this. Every single
yeah,
person
yeah.
is adding to the whole of this process. Everyone, without exception.
And to
And
your
differently. It's beautiful.
yeah, and to your point too, I had a lucid dream 2 days ago, uh, and I was on an island, and there was a tsunami, and so I walked outside, and I'm looking at the tsunami, and I said, and it was so strange because I didn't go human. I just went, okay, baby, let's do it. And
Yeah,
everybody was like around me, and when the tsunami came in, we were all still standing. It was
yeah,
it was like it went through us.
yeah,
And that just jogged my memory when you said that.
yeah.
With the physical transit, what happening in the physical body, the transition actually happened.
Yes, and all the senses are already, I sort of said since July, September is, the way I word it is, September is the sum I can't remember how I worded it now. This is a laugh, isn't it? Because I can't remember what I've said. But September is the harvest. That's how I got the information.
Yeah.
It's the sum total we receive. That's it. We receive the sum total of the work we have done to ourselves,
Yeah.
which is why this year has been the year of self-responsibility.
Yeah.
And so this month that we have just started already, we are experiencing much higher sensitivities already. I mean, our light bodies, for some, again, our light bodies are as one with our body. We can see our light body, we can work with the energy of our light body. And that's just excelling all the sensitivities. And what you've just said about those ladies, what they can see, their sensitivities will also keep increasing.
Yeah.
Yesterday I don't know whether she's in the house, but I was chatting to Linda Starseed Scott,
Mhm.
and I was just chatting to her, looking out the window, and the clouds were completely not like normal clouds. And
Yeah.
every day the clouds change, don't they? So we're used to
Yeah.
different variations and formations of clouds. But these clouds were almost shouting, oh, here we go, we've changed the program.
Yeah.
They were square and oblong, but I mean, every single cloud was either an oblong or a square across the whole of the sky.
Yeah.
And it was just shouting, look at this, this is a hologram. This is,
Yeah.
look at this hologram. And as I was chatting to her, when I looked at the clouds, and I said to her, by the way, I said, the clouds have just changed their programming. And I looked at the sun, and the sun started to do this in front of my eyes.
Hmm. Oh. Yeah.
So it was expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. And then today, I went to that chapel
Oh yeah.
today.
Yeah. That was pretty.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a little garden. So after I meditated, I went into the garden, and I sat on a bench, and then knew I had to sit on Gaia, on the grass. I just knew I had to connect straight to Gaia. So I didn't even know if I was allowed to sit on the grass, but I went in there anyway and sat on the grass. And
Rebel.
I just got this thing about grass, because all my life I've just always known that there's a whole universe within every single blade of grass.
Yeah.
People can look at grass and be bored. I could look at a blade of grass all day and never be bored, because there's everything is in one blade of grass. So I was sat there, I closed my eyes and meditated. And when I came out of meditation, I just looked at the grass, and there's an overlying grid system.
Yeah.
There's a golden grid system, six-sided, and what it was showing me was that every single blade of grass is in union with all the grass. So the grass is one, even though there are hundreds and thousands of blades of grass on the
Yeah.
lawn. There's this beautiful golden grid system that makes it one. And this is the sort of thing that's going to be everyday occurrence for us. Gradually through September, all these sensitivities are going to become easier and more loud, more profound, because they'll become us. That it is us. We're
Yeah.
becoming it.
Yeah.
We're at the point where the higher aspect that always was
Yeah.
is going to be our living experience.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And then we can really, really try and help the whole.
Yeah.
And we
And
will be helping the whole just by being that energy and holding it.
yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like I mean, what the thing with the grass. I mean,
Mm.
well, I would imagine the grass is going through an ascension too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
I mean,
Gaia is,
yeah.
and, everything, everything gets affected. Every single realm is affected. Every
Yeah.
dimension is affected by what the I'm going to say this intentionally, the solid human is doing, because really we're consciousness experiencing this solidity and this containment within this solid form. And that's the miracle
Yeah.
of what's happening, is that we are remembering and increasing our energy while still in this physical form. We're not dying in order to then go on to another journey and another journey. We're doing it in the physical,
Yeah.
solid matter.
Yeah.
And that's what's unique. That's what's beautiful from the galactic perspective and the higher dimensions, because as everybody knows, things get less solid the higher in dimension things go.
Yeah.
So to actually do this in the solid form is just a miracle, you know.
Right.
It's mind blowing.
It
It's
is.
mind blowing.
I mean, my what I get and what I say in the shows is in the, I always feel that we're taking the universe to a place it's never been. And
Yes.
and so it is extraordinary. And
Yes.
and and I just want to go back to the importance. So much of the work that we've done has been so important, is so important. And so many people, like yourself, less me, but other people that have been doing this for years and years and years, and like waiting to spread their wings and waiting to give their information out, waiting for everyone to catch up. It was relevant until now. It's part of, like you said, the Ascension program. It got
Yeah.
us to where we're at. And this
Yeah.
is what excites me about what you're talking about, because if we lose our attachment to all of that stuff, okay, that got us here, oh my God, what we will have left, we will only have this. You know what I mean? But with all that information, right? That's
Yeah.
exciting to me.
Yeah. And the thing is, yeah, it is, because the way it works is when we stop focusing. Okay, we've gone into a separation. It was singular, it was one, and we're experiencing the field of separation and duality. So when we so do you know what, I've completely lost my thread. I'm like this all night. I can't concentrate for the life of
This is
me.
that. It's
I
that
can't.
3D. It's those
I
glitchy. No,
can't.
you were talking
What
about
were you
well,
saying?
I was
I've
saying
forgotten.
how it's exciting to me. I mean, think about
Yeah.
it. Just think about it. Like when I go on to, and I don't do a lot of surfing, but when I do, I don't do a lot of reading. What I do is I read the energy. I see it, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. I
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
person. I get the message. And but think about being able to go into that type of energy or environment or whatever, and there is no talk of, I am this shaman, or I have this, or
Mm.
I have, or, all that stuff goes away. What do we have left? Well, we let go of all the human past and past
Mm.
lives, and now we let go of all this other stuff that got us to this point. What do we have left? Well, we just have each other and the
Yeah.
grass and the
But
cloud. You know what I mean?
I know what I wanted to say is that when we let go, Todd, what you've just said, when we do that, what we have left is an open door
Oh,
for the higher energies to be received. We are open then, because at this stage, and I emphasize at this stage because it will change and it's always changing, everything's always flowing. But at this stage in Ascension, the majority of people that are awake and have higher experiences, they have them, one when they're on their own, or one when they're with somebody of equal vibration,
yeah,
of similar mind, that is happy to stop talking and just be.
yeah,
So we have these higher experiences when we're not thinking and we're not reading and we're not writing.
yeah,
Now, what that does is it frees us of the third dimensional frequency.
yeah,
We're not in it. And what that means is the higher can be experienced.
yeah. It's like me and
But
Morgan.
it is a gradual process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like when
Oh,
we
yeah.
when we
Yeah.
got together this summer, and it lasted the whole summer. But I mean, when it
Mm.
first, it was like a week went by, and then, but that's what exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was a an equal
That's it. I remember.
vibration, and then all this
Yes.
stuff started happening. And it's so
I
strange.
was, do you remember Stavetta was in London?
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, and a few of us went down to London, and somebody came from Gibraltar for that beautiful celebration.
yeah,
Um, and in the daytime on the Saturday, some of us went to Epping Forest. Just some of us, not everyone. And Linda and I decided to just lie on the grass, look at the sky. And because we were of similar vibration, we'd never met each other before. Apart from the night before, we'd never met each other in real life. But because we were such similar frequency, we were both able to lie on the grass, look at the sky. Then I shut my eyes. I don't know if Linda shut her eyes. And I was able to see and point out to her stuff at higher frequency. And then she saw that and pointed out to me. Now, when she was pointing it out, I was already seeing it.
yeah,
And when I was pointing stuff out to her, she was already seeing it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and that's what I mean. And that
yeah,
will just increase and
yeah,
increase and increase. So we will have humans that are having complete different realities to other human beings on the planet.
yes,
There's going
yeah,
to be a difference between humans, and this isn't instant. It's like the ascension process. It's a gradual
yeah,
process, but we will end up having humans that having a very, very different human
yeah.
experience to other human beings. And there's no judgment between that and that,
No, no,
because that and that, if that in itself shows a separation. All
right.
of it is one. It's one whole.
Yeah,
And the people that are having the high experience will see all of that as whole
yeah,
and be all of that as whole, as love.
that's right.
It's
Yeah,
only through love.
yeah, I totally get that because like when that stuff happened to Morgan and I, she was like, "Hey, let's get Kismet in here to take pictures," and we both were like, "Well, I wonder if she would even see it," because
Yeah.
I don't know that another person would have seen it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it is interesting because it is a mutual divine episode,
Yeah.
a mutual experience, and so what happens when there's three or four? Uh,
For what happens when there's 12 in a tribe? What
yeah.
happens when there's a community?
Oh wow. Yeah,
What
right.
happens when
Water to
don't
wine, or
do
wine to
no.
water, or what is it? Loaves and fishes. Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
fascinating. Yeah,
there's so much to look forward to, and people are awakening all the time. I
yeah,
actually witnessed an awakening the other week.
really.
I witnessed someone
Wow,
receive a divine bolt of energy from their feet right the way up. It came out their throat and then it went through their crown. And I actually witnessed it.
really.
That happened to the person that was not awake, and they received that
Wow,
in a place that had this beautiful, beautiful energy to it. Um, and I can't tell you what it meant to me because it was, well, I wouldn't go into it, but yeah,
now
people are
did
awakening all the
oh
time.
yeah, did you see anything like an apparition or anything, or did you
I did,
just
well, I knew this person was ready.
yeah,
I didn't say that because I'll never
yeah,
interfere.
yeah,
But I knew the person had open mind and open heart. But did I expect it? No.
wow,
They completely orchestrated it. We were going to go to a particular place, and on the day he said, "Can we go here instead, Mandy?" And I went, "Yeah, if you like, fine." I didn't expect it, but yeah. And he said, "Oh, okay." He says, "I didn't know if you'd like to go or not, and I thought you might not want to go here." And we went there. I saw a light worker friend that I hadn't seen for about 4 years. she was working in this place, and she said, Mandy, forget all the guides and the leaflets. You need to go to that spot because it's full of energy. We went to that spot, and this person who is completely dear to me in my life sat there with open heart and mind, and I sat on the floor. I had my eyes shut. I was just absorbing the energies, and I just heard this noise come out of his mouth,
Oh
and
my God.
it went like that kind of thing, like that, and I had my eyes shut, and he said to me, Mandy, I don't know what's happened. I just had this. He said, it's just like being in the sea and the wave comes up to you, and it went through my feet. He said, it came out my mouth. What was that? And it went through his crown. It's
Wow.
just a miracle. This is happening in different ways
Wow.
to people all over the planet are waking up.
Yeah.
And some people think, well, will my family wake up? Will my friends wake up? I wouldn't even, because people have asked me this, is not to even think about that.
Yeah.
They are exactly where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people that are very asleep right now who will instantly wake up.
Yeah.
They will zoom at speed through their clearing of which has taken us longer time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will zoom at speed through that,
Yeah.
and then they will be shooting up. There's everything to play for. I wouldn't discount anything or anyone
No.
from waking up.
No. And it only makes sense
It's
because,
beautiful.
because doors have been opened and it only makes
Yeah.
sense. Linda Scott wants me to ask you about the tree.
The tree.
Says
Oh,
mention.
the tree. Yeah, we went. Oh, God. Oh, she needs to remind me because I've half forgotten. We saw this massive tree. Oh, so much happened with Linda. It was unreal. I mean, we were just bouncing off each other. We weren't, we were just in our own world. It was like fairyland, really. And
Yeah.
we found this tree, and it was a lightning bolt had taken the tree down, but it had left this massive, massive trunk and a hollow in it.
Oh yeah.
A hollow. I'm just trying to remember as I'm speaking. And you could actually sit inside the tree trunk with all the little spiders and the insects and the cobwebs. But we had pictures, Linda and I both sat in it at different points, and we sat in it. But behind our heads, as we were sat in this hollow tree trunk, there was a hole. Okay, there was a hole in the tree trunk, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Linda was sat in it, and I was taking a photograph of her sitting in the tree trunk, and I spied the hole in the trunk behind her where she was sat,
Yeah.
and I looked at the hole, and it was a different world. So really, I should have been looking through this hole and seeing the rest of the forest
Right.
as part of the scene. But I looked through the hole, and I had to have a double take, and I said, Linda, I think that's a different world. So she, I know it sounds crazy. So
No, it doesn't.
she got up and had a look. And she's going, Mandy, it is a different. She said, that
Yeah.
is a different world. So we were like looking through this hole. It was a bit like Alice in Wonderland,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was so awesome. And then, well, actually, it was even more like Alice in Wonderland because then I saw this rabbit jumping along the forest floor, and I said, "Oh God, we've got to follow the rabbit." And so we followed the rabbit, and it stopped on this trunk that was lying down on the floor. It stopped as if, like, say, "Come on." It was waiting. So we walked nearer to it, and it carried on. So it showed us to go a certain way. And I hope Linda doesn't mind me saying this, but she did so mention the tree. So we followed the rabbit, and it led to a structure in the forest of, I don't know, about 12 uprights of trees. It was like a little shelter, really. And I sat in it and sat down to meditate. Linda sat down with her eyes open. She was right next to the leaves on the forest floor, and this golden light started coming in on the floor, and it was
Wow.
just doing this. It was dancing for her. I mean, she. That was such a moment for her because there was no reason for the light to be golden.
Right.
It could have been white or whatever, but there was no reason for it to be golden.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm rambling now, aren't
No,
I?
I love it, man. But see, these are the things that people have to share, or that benefits us to share, because it's full of activations. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just letting go. Let go of the brain, believe in the magic.
yeah,
Just let go of the seriousness as well. My
yeah,
God, we get serious.
right,
Let go of it. Be the child. Be the child you were at 6 years old that believed in everything,
yeah,
because that's the truth. That is more the truth
that's right,
than any mature adult knows.
that's right.
Let go of that serious, mature adult that likes to be sensible, and just go with it.
The
Go,
have
just
tos, yeah,
yeah,
the
and then
have
it
tos.
just unfolds.
We don't have to do nothing.
No, you don't. You
We don't
just
have to
have to
do
enjoy
nothing.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
play, play, play.
right on. Harry Potter is real, Linda says. Okay, let's see now. I don't know what else you got. Uh, Grace Savannah Thomas says, please say hi to Amanda.
Grace, who? Sorry, you said.
So Grace Savannah
Oh, bless
says,
her.
we met in the physical recently at the White Spring in Glastonbury.
Yes,
During a
yes.
powerful, energetic shift in the space, she arrived at exactly the right moment. And I know you ran into Jen McCarty.
Yeah. I'd like to say hello to Grace because
Yeah,
I'd never met her, ran into her, and she was this beautiful energy. Grace, I was absolutely honoured to meet you, and I hope to see you again. God bless you.
yeah, yeah. Well, I've
Well,
enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. You got
well,
anything
well.
else? I
Oh my God, we'd be here all night, Todd.
know. I think, you know, it's just, it was the right time. Perfect. I enjoyed it. I've been out of the loop for, I don't even know. I can't think either. I can't remember anything. But
Yeah, I
I
can't.
haven't done a
It's
show
hard.
since I left Texas. I know that.
Haven't
Uh,
you?
no,
Really?
the last one I did was with Michael Muir, a guy out of Sydney who was
Yeah.
incredible, and then and I had to do it on my phone because I had bought the new computer, and it was a lemon, so I had to take it back the next day, and then I caught a flight out later that day, and then of course I went into the abyss yesterday.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went deep sea diving in my scuba gear, and
D-
and it came out
yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you went through. You went. It's like I say. You actually went through a vortex.
yeah. I
Seriously,
no,
and
yeah.
it's you've got that phrase as I don't know what that phrase is.
As goes the individual, as goes the
That's the
individual,
one. That's
so
the
goes the
one.
collective. Yeah, I
There
felt
we
it.
go.
I
There we
felt
go.
it.
It's
Yeah,
yeah. It's a
I felt it.
springboard.
Yeah, I really did. I felt it very much. Not that I didn't have personal transforming, but I felt it. I saw it. Like I said, I saw these glitches. Right before I left Houston, my electric shaver disappeared. And I was having these a couple of nights of visitations and stuff, and Morgan and I were doing some sessions, and my shaver was gone in a little bitty hotel, nobody coming in, and I have all
I'm
this
trying to figure
equipment.
out what you shave. What do you shave?
Well, I mean, it trims, it trims
Oh,
it
okay.
down. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of
Okay.
long right now. I got to go get another one tomorrow, but
Okay.
anyway, so like the 29th and 30th, or the 30th and 31st, these little things were missing. It was like
Mm.
I closed my eyes, I came back, it's gone. Or I'm in a different scene or a different timeline. I don't really know, but I felt it coming, and I saw the energy, but it did feel very much like a collective vortex or whoosh, just like
Mm.
whoosh, and it was
Yeah.
it was it, I don't know, it was just I can't even explain it. I watched that video which I don't do. I don't watch them. And I watched it last night, and I was amazed. I wasn't amazed at me. I was just amazed at what the hell was
I
expressed.
was,
I was just like, what is, because it wasn't the words. And again, this goes back to what you talked at the top of the show, which is moving into a wordless existence, really, when you get right down to it.
mm,
And because even though there were words spoken, it's the frequency, it's the heart frequency that
it
that
is.
people relate to.
Yeah, we are really, really at a pivotal point.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have been building and working,
Yeah,
like this. But September. If we come back at the end of September, based on this show tonight,
yeah, we should
I don't
track it.
even know where we're going to be
We should
at the
track it.
end.
We actually should track it. September's got 30 days.
It's
Yeah,
going to be that profound for a lot of
I
people,
I I
and
get that. Yeah,
people need to. Well, they don't need to do
right.
anything. That's the point. So
Yeah,
I'm not saying do it, or I'm not preaching, but just be aware
yeah,
for your own sake. Be aware that things are going to present for your empowerment,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and see the higher layer of what's presented.
yeah,
So we'll always see it at human level first, always, but then see the higher levels, because
yeah.
this really, really is a change
It is.
of empowerment within humans this month. And as that happens, parallel to that human side changing, are the higher sensitivities happening at the same time.
Yeah,
So there's a lot going on in September for people, and a lot for everybody, regardless of their level is or their frequency. I shouldn't say level; that's the wrong word. But
yeah,
regardless of whether they're awake or asleep, there'll be a lot going on anyway for everyone, because it's the collective, it's
yeah,
the collective frequencies and the collective timeline
yeah.
of September.
I agree with that. And
Yeah,
what I've been getting was that it is a critical time. We've hit critical mass, and for me, and in the shows I talk about a little bit, and that is, be very careful of what you're thinking and speaking and doing, because there's something in me that's telling me whatever we're doing right now is gonna take hold. It's
yeah.
gonna it's gonna form.
Mm.
And so I'm being very careful about that. I don't know.
I absolutely agree, because what I find, and I say this in the hope that the explanation helps people because they'll experience it too, is because generally as we go about our lives, we're at this sort of frequency, and we're always doing this with our frequency. Our frequency changes throughout the day based on the sun. If you look at animals, they're the most beautiful example of energy and how we're affected by our sun. Animals are just the easy kingdom to look at to see how they react throughout the day to the sun. Humans are no different in that respect. It's just that we manipulate our
Yeah.
time, whereas animals just flow
Right.
with the sun. We don't. We try to control our life and our time.
Yeah.
And again, I've just completely lost my thread. What was I talking about?
I don't
Isn't this
remember.
terrible? I never do this, do I? I just haven't got a clue
I
what I
do it
just said.
all the time. I
I
do it
haven't
all
got
the
a
time.
clue.
But yeah, yeah.
But oh yeah, is that on this ascension we're raising our frequency as we do the work. So we get higher and higher as the main frequency that we are through the day. So when something does happen to us that creates a dip in our frequency, it's actually quite a drop. So when we were asleep, let's go back to when we were asleep, and in typical third dimensional life, and I don't say that in a derogatory way, it's just a term. But when we were in that life, that was our base frequency. Okay. So that was the normal. But because we have actually raised our frequency so much now, when we dip, we're just not used to being there. So it actually feels even worse. Whereas when we were asleep, it was everyday life. We were used to it.
Yeah, I
We're
agree with
not
that.
used to dipping. So it actually is a huge thing for us.
Yeah.
And it is a case that sometimes the dip in our own frequency, it has far more effect on us than the actual situation that occurred, that triggered the dip in our frequency.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It's so we're so conscious now. We're so sensitive, should I
Yeah.
say,
It
to
rocks you.
our own frequency that we're not used. And this is how Ascension works: is we incrementally increase. So we're always doing this, but we're not going down here. And I know you probably can't see it, but we're not going down here as much. We're like this.
Yeah.
We're like, and then we'll keep going up like this. So when we do have a blip,
Yeah. It's
we
hard.
absolutely feel it like a
Yeah.
ton of bricks, don't we?
Well,
But
that's
then
like,
we'll do
yeah.
the work, and what that does,
Yeah.
by doing the work, guess what happens? We jump.
Yeah.
We jump.
Yeah.
We go higher by doing the work.
And that's what
So
happened. That's what
it's a
happened
blessing.
yesterday. That's a good description of what happened yesterday. Even though I saw
Yes, it is.
everything happening
Yeah.
in the energy,
Yeah.
it just,
Yeah.
Zavetta brought
You
me
did the
home.
work though, and you
Yeah.
jumped. You
Yeah,
jumped.
I
And that's
jumped,
why,
but what you said
you
is what
know,
happened, and
you're frozen. Oh, no,
oh,
you
I'm
haven't.
back. But
There you go.
yeah, and so it is. You're right. It's more acute. It's more.
Yeah.
You feel it more. And as I
Yes.
was sitting there doing the video, I really didn't know I was going to start crying. To be honest with you, I didn't. In fact, I started it out. I wasn't, and then all of a sudden, and it really had nothing to do with what I was saying. It was just the passion of the heart, what we're doing here, who we are,
Mm.
what we are, what we're a part of, and the human is the hero thing. I mean, it was just so, it was so powerful. I just started bawling,
Do you know? Do you know though, Todd? I mean this in the most loving way, and that's the only way. Is I don't mean this in a masochistic way. I think that's the right word.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad you did that video, because you set an example to mankind. You set an example to the masculine energies and the feminine energies of being in your truth. You were truthful about the pain. You were truthful about your path. You were truthful about all the experiences you have had. In other words, you had the courage to come out and be you, knowing that people would take that any which way they want to,
Yeah.
but you did it anyway. And as a person watching that, I'm grateful to you that I saw a man who was happy and courageous enough to do it.
Mm.
And I really mean that, because you have made a difference to the whole by being your truth. And
Mm.
I know that because I know you've jumped. You
Mm.
wouldn't have jumped if it wasn't truth.
No.
And I know you did, because I saw it when I was at the Magdalene Chapel. I actually saw the Vortex, which I haven't actually told you, by the way.
Really?
I
What was
saw
that
it
like?
in it was moving. It
Was it
was a
like that? Was
moving.
it like that tornado in the Wizard of Oz when the witch was going around in the broom? Because it sure felt like that. It felt like the devil was sticking a pitchfork in my ass, and I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff going on. No, but it.
Yeah, it was a visual, so I did
I
get a
know.
visual.
I know. I'm
It,
kidding.
it was definitely a visual. It was moving, and it was definitely a vortex.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
you know one when you see one. And
Yeah.
but yeah, if it takes a lot of courage to say our truth. And I say this from my truth, that this is what I'm trying to say about your courage, Todd. So much of my time, I don't say anything. I'm not talking about to you, but
Yeah.
I can be in conversations with people day in, day out,
Yes.
and I'll be listening and I don't say anything.
Yeah.
And I don't say anything because I know if I speak my truth, it will trigger them. Now, you spoke your truth. That's the courage.
Mm.
That's what you demonstrated.
Mm.
You made a difference yesterday, and maybe you don't see that as significant as I see it, but I know that there's hundreds of people that watched that felt the difference you made.
Yeah.
I know that for certain.
Yeah. And not because it's me, but that's I knew that.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
that. And
Truth is
actually,
truth. Truth is
yes,
truth.
somebody actually said to me something that's fairly derogatory.
Oh, you've frozen. Come back wherever you are. Where are you, Todd?
I'm back.
Are you
So
there?
yeah, can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I
I can
delighted?
hear you.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, you cut out.
yeah, yeah. No, but somebody said something to me, and I thought to myself, because you do that, you question yourself, well, what was that? Because I
Of
hadn't even
course.
looked at it. And because when I looked at it, it was like watching something I had no familiarity with at all, to be honest with you. It was just like, what was that? Maybe the beginning and the end, I saw myself, but what I was saying is, I thought to myself, even if a person, whatever frequency a person's at, regardless of what your judgment is of them, if they're speaking from their heart, whatever that looks like, that is an activator for people. Because it does
Yeah,
it does
heart
take
is.
it does take guts. It does take guts. But I was very
It does
happy.
what? Sorry, it does.
It
It
takes
does
like you
take
said, guts, courage, like you said.
guts. Yeah,
And I'm not saying that because it was me. I see people doing it every day that inspire me. But I got to tell you that the soul is contagious, and for some reason in this transition, and of course this is what I do, put this platform for people like you, myself, other people. There is no higher activation than that of the human soul hybrid, as I refer to it, in transition, speaking their truth or expressing their truth in some form or fashion. It activates everyone, and I'm convinced, with no blasphemy, that it is more of an activator than anything we can channel, receiving transmission or download.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it
yeah,
just all right.
yeah. And it's everything. It got is energy,
Yeah,
and everything carries a vibration of energy. So truth carries a vibration.
yeah, that's right.
Love carries a vibration, and love, coming from your heart is the highest vibration a human being can can
Yeah,
embody, can put out to anyone or anything. You can give that love to an insect
yeah,
if you come from truth. And of course there are layers of truth, but the more somebody is in their heart, because the heart is a portal.
yeah,
Let's
that's right.
let's say this because it's time to, Todd. Is the heart is an actual portal, and so by being love, by being truth on the ascension path, it I'm going to say it activates that portal, but that portal of the heart is already there. So what happens is our consciousness connects. The more we clear, the more we go into our truth, the more we come from love, the more we connect to the portal of our heart, and so it will end up again. This is although it is now actually, but for some people, for a few people, but it'll end up that we are able to manifest and operate and give energy out from our heart portal to all things, and it will be an easy thing to do. We've spoke about this privately,
Yeah.
the other day.
Yeah.
But everybody's heart is a portal. So you coming from your truth actually gives that energy out to the whole collective, the collective consciousness,
Yeah.
the mass energy.
Yeah. I agree with that.
That's what you've done.
I
That's
agree.
what you've done.
That's what Shekinah Rose talks about. She talks about the divine holy matrix, and that when
Yeah.
we transmit, even when I talked to Bert Malloy today, and we were talking, I said, even when this conversation is transmitted throughout the whole matrix, we may not be detectable to the conscious mind. And obviously, there must be a greater benefit when the conscious mind is part of that. But yeah, this is the
Yeah,
month.
I mean, just because we can't see it, I mean, everybody watching this knows this. It's the people that probably aren't watching it that don't know. But just because we can't see energy, well, we can see energy. That's the point.
Yeah.
Is I see energy. I
Yeah.
see my light body. I see my Merkaba at will. But just because we can't see the repercussions of energy
Yeah.
doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right.
And this goes back, we're sort of coming round again full circle to what we were talking about earlier, is that, like, the month of September, we will find a human wisdom
Yeah.
within us. Some
Yeah.
people will find a human wisdom within them that they will grow into, and that is to actually not enter into conversations that they know does not serve the highest good, and not speak about certain subjects that they know, if they contribute to that conversation or that act, it's not serving the highest good. And that's where we literally are going to be understanding and becoming this pillar of truth. And it won't be that we say no from ego, it's that we will find our ways of saying no from the heart.
Yeah.
Because if we enter into a conversation because we get pulled into it or grabbed into it, and we add a lower vibration to that, that is energy that goes out to the whole of this collective consciousness field, and
Very
Gaia
true.
absorbs all that energy and reacts from that energy. Gaia's our energy as a collective race, humanity, Gaia mirrors.
Yeah.
It's all linked in.
Yeah. That's
Um,
right.
so we become responsible for the energy we emit out.
Yeah.
And we do this incrementally on our ascension path. We have to be energy aware. We're not responsible for others
Yeah.
and what they emit out, and we don't need to interfere with what they emit out. But we can take 100% complete responsibility for what we enter into,
Yeah.
what conversations we enter into, what subjects we enter into. Does it serve the highest good? Does it serve the whole, actually speaking words about that subject? No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
No.
I'm going to stand in my truth, but it's not from ego.
Yeah.
It's just from wisdom
Yeah.
of what's actually occurring,
Yeah.
you
I like
know?
what you said, the human wisdom. And
Yes,
and we
that's what
can't.
September will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said this is the year of what I call it
Self-responsibility.
soul
Yeah.
responsibility, self responsibility.
Yeah.
So on one hand, we can't do anything about anyone else, but on the other hand, if we do take soul responsibility and we do use that human wisdom, we actually do influence those people, other people,
Yeah.
all people,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we do influence what all of us are, what others are
Yeah.
seeing when they walk outside and they look at a
Absolutely.
tree or they look at the clouds, or they look
Yes.
at whatever it is. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
Oh, yeah. And don't ever underestimate people. Don't ever underestimate the effects your light
Yeah.
and your love
Yeah.
have on everybody out there, including the people that you just don't even know. Never
Yeah.
underestimate it, because I just see it time and time again
Absolutely. Absolutely.
how we are affecting people.
I think we should do this again in 30 days and see what happens.
I'm not here in 30 days. I'm away. I'm
Uh,
on a mission, aren't I? Which I'm not really talking about.
uh,
Oh, you've gone. You keep. Where have you
I
gone,
thought I
love?
was getting out.
There you
No,
are.
I didn't. I should have cleared
Are
my
you there?
computer. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you won't be here.
Well,
Okay.
I no. I mean, I can talk about this in a really limited way, as in,
That's okay.
not where I'm going, but I don't know if I'm going to have Wi-Fi signal
Yeah.
when I'm away. That's the thing.
That's okay.
So I don't. I know I will. When I'm in accommodations,
Mhm.
but when I'm on locations, I don't know at the moment if I'm going to actually have a Wi-Fi. In which case, I can't. Which
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
nuisance, because I'd like to do live from locations. I would love it, because I want to literally put everybody in my pocket and give them the experiences. But I seriously don't think I'll get Wi-Fi at
Hmm.
these
If you
locations.
don't, you don't. Or you can go old
But
school. You can go old school. Just turn on your camera
but
and do a video and upload it later.
oh
You know.
God, I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's how I used to do it.
Seriously, I never thought of that.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah,
used to do that. I mean, that's how I started. A few years ago.
yeah.
So yeah,
Upload. Yes.
you should do that. And
Yeah,
on
that's a
that,
brilliant idea, because
yeah,
I thought, well, at least I could do pictures. And
mhm,
I thought, well, that's not the same, but
yeah,
I'll do that, what you said. But I'll keep in touch
yeah, yeah,
anyway, because if there's a possibility that we can do a live when I'm out there, then that would be beautiful for just to bring everybody together.
yeah.
It
That'll work.
really would. It would be really special to include everybody.
Yeah.
I can't see any of the comments, by the way, so I'm sorry that I'm not responding to the
Well,
comments.
they're
But
coming in fast. There's been 1,090. so
oh,
so
but
it's been a pleasure, and thank you for coming back, my beloved sister, and for all the work that you
oh,
do for everybody.
well, I'm always here for you, Todd, and that's a given. So, but I do want to thank everybody else for being here, for all the work they're doing as well, and
Yeah,
for making a difference. And above all, just be yourselves. Have have that inner knowing that that's exactly who you are supposed to be.
yeah,
Is you. You're not a clone. You're not a sheep that follows somebody else or that follows a flock. You're you, and you've got an incredible power that is getting realized more and more and more. So trust yourselves, believe in yourselves as individuals, and above all, love yourself. Be kind to yourself,
yeah.
and have fun, laugh a lot.
That's
'Cause
right. We have to.
yeah,
There's
and
wisdom in
God,
that.
God bless everyone. God bless
Yeah,
you all.
yeah.
Yeah,
God bless you. Thank
yeah.
you,
Love to
everybody.
Morgan. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. God
Okay.
bless.
Y'all take care. See you later,
Yeah.
Mandy.
Take
Love
care,
you.
sweetheart. Bye
All
bye.
right.